Hey everyone, I'm Jennifer Wu. I thought I'd inherited a legacy, 3 generations of family wealth, after my husband's tragic accident. But his mother and sister had different plans, armed with fake evidence and a sinister agenda. The day everything unraveled started just like any other. I was at my dental practice, focused on patient files, when my receptionist hurried in. Dr. Wu, your mother-in-law is here. She seems upset. Before I could respond, Eleanor Chen stormed through the door, clutching her designer handbag like it was a weapon. How dare you? She spat, tossing a manila envelope onto my desk. After everything we've done for you. Her hand, usually steady and composed, trembled as she pointed an accusing finger at me. Behind her, Melissa, my sister-in-law, leaned casually in the doorway, her usual smug grin firmly in place. I opened the envelope, my stomach twisting as staged photos spilled out. They depicted me with a man I didn't even recognize, entering a hotel, having dinner, holding hands. Each photo was meticulously crafted, complete with forged timestamps that painted a damning timeline, supposedly stretching back months before Michael's accident. These are fake, I said firmly, my voice steady despite the storm churning inside me. I don't even know this man. Melissa took a step forward, feigning concern. Oh, Jennifer. We didn't want to believe it either, but then we found these. She produced more papers, bank statements showing transfers I never authorized. Secret accounts, hidden funds. While my brother was dying, you were plotting your escape with your lover, weren't you? My mind raced back to that fateful night 6 months ago. Michael and I had been driving home from his parents' estate after dinner. He was animated, telling me about his plans to modernize Chen Investments once he took over. Dad's retiring next month, he had said, his eyes bright with excitement. The company will be ours, Jen. Everything we've dreamed of. Then, out of nowhere, the truck ran the red light. I survived. Michael didn't. You know this is all a lie, I said, rising to my feet. Michael and I were happy. We were building a future together. Eleanor's expression turned ice cold. Were you? Then explain this. She thrust her phone at me, playing a video. It showed me arguing with Michael in his office. My voice rang out clearly. I can't take this anymore. I wish I'd never married into this family. I remembered that moment vividly. It wasn't real. It was a theater rehearsal. Melissa had been directing one of her amateur plays, and Michael had helped me rehearse my lines. We'd been laughing between takes, but in this doctored version, the laughter was gone and only the tension remained. That's from a rehearsal, I protested. Melissa, you were there. You were directing. But Melissa merely shook her head, feigning pity. You're grasping at straws, Jennifer. We have proof, photos, bank records, even your so-called escape plans. Lying won't help you now. Eleanor stepped closer, her voice low and venomous. Did you really think we'd let our family's legacy fall into the hands of a gold digger? That we'd stand by while you inherited everything? And then it hit me. This wasn't just an attack on my character, it was a plot to steal Michael's inheritance. His grandfather had built Chen Investments from the ground up, turning it into an empire worth millions. The will was clear. In the event of Michael's death, the entire estate would pass to me. Unless, of course, I was proven unfaithful. You set this up, I said, glaring at Melissa. She had always resented that Michael was chosen to lead the company over her. You fabricated all of it. The photos, the video, the bank statements. Do you have proof? Melissa asked sweetly. Because we certainly do. And once the board sees it, how do you think they'll react to Michael's unfaithful widow taking control? Eleanor gathered the damning documents and tucked them back into her envelope. You have 2 options, Jennifer. Sign over your inheritance quietly or watch us destroy everything. Your career, your reputation, your life. She smiled coldly. Choose wisely. As they walked out, I stood motionless, staring at the mess they'd left behind. My reflection in the window looked pale and shaken, just how they wanted me to look. But beneath the shock, something else stirred. Determination. Fury. They thought they had me cornered, but they didn't realize who they were dealing with. Before I became a dentist, I put myself through college by working in its security. And if they wanted to play games with fabricated evidence, they were about to find out they weren't the only ones who knew how to manipulate digital trails. I picked up my phone and dialed a number I hadn't used in years. Marcus, I need your help. How fast can you analyze some doctored photos and videos? The game had begun, and I had every intention of winning. My hands trembled as I gripped the steering wheel, driving home in the fading twilight. Scenarios ran through my mind, each worse than the last. Eleanor and Melissa had clearly orchestrated this attack over months. But they overlooked one crucial flaw. Digital footprints always leave a trail. As I pulled into my driveway, I noticed someone waiting on my doorstep. It was David, Michael's best friend and business partner. His expression was grave. "Jen, we need to talk," he said as I got out of the car. "The board called an emergency meeting for tomorrow morning. They've received some concerning evidence." "Let me guess," I said as I unlocked my door, motioning for him to come inside. "Photos, videos, and bank statements." David followed me, looking uneasy. "They're claiming you had an affair, that you planned to sell your shares after inheriting. Melissa presented everything to the board earlier today." Of course she had. They weren't just pressuring me to give up the inheritance. They were dismantling every pillar of support I had. "The photos are fake, David. The video was from a theater rehearsal, and the bank statements were forged," I said firmly, opening my laptop. "And I can prove it." David hesitated, then sighed. "Jen, I want to believe you. But what?" I snapped, frustration boiling over. "Melissa's evidence looks too polished, so it must be real. She's had months to fine-tune her lies, ever since Michael." My voice caught in my throat. "Ever since the accident." Before David could respond, my phone buzzed. It was Marcus. I put him on speaker. "Jen, you need to see this," he said. "Those photos? They were generated using high-end ad technology. This wasn't your average Photoshop job. It was expensive, top-tier work. As for the video, I've isolated splicing artifacts. It's a composite, pieced together from multiple clips." "Can you prove it?" I asked, my heart pounding. "Better," Marcus replied confidently. "I traced the software purchase. Someone bought access to advanced AI imaging tools 3 months ago. The payment came from an offshore account, but guess what? It was tied to a Chen Investments credit card." "Melissa's?" I guessed. "Exactly. She tried to cover her tracks. But she's not as tech-savvy as she thinks." "Oh, and about those bank statements, they were fabricated using internal templates stolen from Chen Investments' system. The access logs show." "Eleanor's credentials." I finished, already knowing the answer. "Bingo," Marcus confirmed. David's face drained of color. The CEO's wife using company resources to forge evidence? This could ruin them. "It should," I said quietly. "Now, pull up the security footage from March 15th. David did as I asked, and we watched the unedited video. It showed everything. Michael and me rehearsing lines, Melissa directing, even Eleanor standing by the door, watching. There was no room for doubt. The raw footage completely undermined their narrative." Marcus's voice came through again. "One more thing. I found emails between Eleanor and Melissa dating back to shortly after Michael's accident. They were working with a private investigator, coordinating surveillance on you and planning how to present their fake evidence." David ran a hand through his hair. "If you present all this tomorrow, you'll have enough to not only clear your name but also expose them." I nodded. "I'll need your support. Eleanor and Melissa think they've already won. They have no idea I've uncovered their scheme." With David's help, I worked through the night alongside Marcus, compiling a detailed presentation. We gathered everything: proof of the AI purchases, email correspondence outlining their conspiracy, forensic analysis debunking the photos and videos, and most importantly, the raw security footage that exposed the truth. At dawn, David handed me one final weapon: Michael's personal journal. He'd found it in the office safe, tucked away where no one had thought to look. The last entry, written just days before his death, revealed everything. "Mom and Melissa are pressuring me to change the inheritance, but I won't. They've never understood. This company isn't about money or control. It's about legacy, integrity, and trust." Jen embodies all of that. She's the only person I trust to carry on Grandpa's vision. No matter what they try, this is my decision. The company will go to her. I clutched the journal to my chest, tears blurring my vision. Even in death, Michael was still protecting me. Just then, my phone buzzed again. A message from Eleanor. "The board meeting starts in 1 hour. Last chance to sign over the inheritance and walk away quietly." I smiled, a new sense of resolve hardening in my chest as I typed my response. Don't worry, Eleanor. I wouldn't miss this meeting for the world. They thought they'd orchestrated my downfall. Instead, they had paved the way for their own undoing. I arrived at Chen Investments 15 minutes early, clutching a USB drive with irrefutable evidence. Eleanor and Melissa were already in the boardroom, looking every bit the picture of polished confidence. Their smiles wavered only slightly when they saw my calm, collected demeanor. Still trying to save face, Melissa muttered as I settled into my seat. Just sign the papers and leave with some dignity. The board members filed in, their expressions serious. Eleanor stood composed and poised in a designer suit, ready to make her case. Thank you for coming. Today you must address some deeply troubling revelations about Jennifer Wu's character and activities during my son's life. She began her presentation. Photo after photo, video after video, and forged bank statements, each one more damning than the last. I sat still, watching as the fabricated evidence unfolded. Board members exchanged disapproving glances, their faces a mixture of disappointment and suspicion. And now Eleanor finished, I asked the board to vote on removing Jennifer Wu from her inherited position and transferring control to the rightful heir, my daughter, Melissa. I stood up, calm but resolute. Before we proceed with the vote, I have evidence of my own to present. I inserted my USB drive into the computer, glancing briefly at Eleanor's tightening expression. Let's begin with the photos. On screen, the technical analysis appeared, confirming the photos were AI-generated. Pay for with a Chen Investments company card. I added, displaying the transaction records. By you, Melissa. The room filled with hushed murmurs. Melissa's face drained of color. The video? I continued. Here's the original, unedited footage from the security cameras. As you can see, we were rehearsing for Melissa's amateur theater production. And these emails between Eleanor and Melissa reveal their entire scheme to fabricate evidence and steal my inheritance. Eleanor's composure cracked. This is madness, she spat. You're fabricating evidence to destroy us. Like you fabricated everything to ruin me? I shot back, pulling Michael's journal from my bag. David found this in your office safe. Shall I read Michael's last entry about why he chose me to lead Chen Investments? Melissa lunged for the journal, but David stepped forward, blocking her. It's over, he said softly. The truth is out. The chairman of the board cleared his throat. Mrs. Chen, Miss Chen, these are grave accusations. Using company resources to create fraudulent documents, attempting to steal an inheritance through deception. These are criminal acts. You can't prove anything. Melissa screamed, though her voice wavered with panic. Actually, I said Marcus has already delivered all the evidence to the authorities. I wouldn't be surprised if they're currently seizing your computers. Eleanor slumped in her chair, the last remnants of her carefully constructed facade crumbling. We were protecting the family legacy, she whispered, her voice thick with defeat. You don't belong here. You don't deserve any of this. No, I replied firmly. You were protecting your own interests. Michael chose me because I share his values, integrity, honesty, trust. Everything you and Melissa sought to destroy. The board's vote was swift and unanimous. Not only would I retain my inherited position, but Eleanor and Melissa would now face criminal charges for fraud and corporate espionage. As security escorted them out of the room, I heard Melissa's final, venomous words. This isn't over. But it was over. Their elaborate plot had fallen apart because they underestimated both my ability to uncover the truth and Michael's foresight. They'd never understood that a true family legacy isn't about bloodlines or power. It's about the principles that endure. 1 year later, Chen Investments was thriving under my leadership. The scandal made brief headlines, but our clients remained loyal, trusting in the values Michael's grandfather had instilled. Eleanor and Melissa accepted plea deals to avoid jail time, but they were permanently barred from the company. Every so often, I visit Michael's grave to update him on our progress. The growth of the company, the changes I'm making, the legacy I'm preserving. And when the wind rustles through the trees, I swear I can hear his voice echoing, just as it did in that final journal entry. You're the only one I trust to carry on his legacy the right way. He was right to trust me, and I'll spend the rest of my life proving it.